Okay. DGP 79, Arsenal 8, Crystal Palace 3. How you doing, Steven?
Howdy. 8-3. What are we going aggregate on this? 8-3 over two games? Two
I
legs?
just thought since the last time we've spoken, obviously there's been two games and they were both against them. So why not do an aggregate on them? And the results, I think it was predicted. I think 10 in a row was maybe predicted on this pod. I don't know how many others were saying that 2 months ago. You know, the receipts are out there. Go check.
Choo choo. We're on the train, 10 unbeaten, hitting you on a midday Sunday here on the East Coast. I am up in DC. I think my good friend, my co-host, is down in Miami living the good life, wearing a short sleeve t-shirt out in the tropics. Good for you, man.
Yeah, dude, enjoying the 70-degree weather. I saw the game was very cold, it looked like. So shout out to the players for showing up on that. I was just on the couch enjoying it very comfortably. And it is nice. It is nice. It's obviously holiday season. Shout out to anyone who celebrates Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hope you get to spend time with friends and family and enjoy your time. And also welcome to our new listeners. Anyone who's joining us for the first time, welcome to District Gooner Pod, the #1 common sense footballing pod in the world. I got our stats actually from, like, they did a year wrap, the program that we use. And I want to give a shout out to all of our listeners in the US and the UK, of course, but also our listeners in Germany, Norway, Ireland, Finland, and Canada. Thanks for making this an international podcast.
Mr. Worldwide, we appreciate it. I mean, it's Arsenal Football Club, right? It is worldwide. I think one of the reasons I fell in love with the club was for that reason. That's, as a young dude, seeing the colored faces on the team. That's what kind of really drug me over there to be an Arsenal fan. So we appreciate it.
We sure do, man. All right, I don't really know how the pod's going to flow here. I don't really want to talk about the Carabao Cup match that much. I'd rather focus on the league performance, but it was nice to get one step closer to a trophy.
Absolutely. We were both in for it. Semi-final, we pulled Newcastle. I like the draw. The only draw I really wasn't looking forward to was Liverpool, just because it's a two-legged tie, correct?
Yes.
It's going to be two legs, home and away. Add that into the January time frame. I just don't think it'd be very emotional. I don't want to do that. Newcastle, I'm happy with that. It was Newcastle, United. Even if we had gotten Tottenham, I'd have been cool with that. I don't really care. Newcastle away game will be tough, but I feel good about it, man.
Me too. I think it's a favorable draw. I think it's fun. We've had this little rivalry almost like brewing with Newcastle in the last 3 to 4 years. And I mean, even this season, they beat us 1-0 at their place. I think we know what we can expect at their place. So that first leg is going to be very important at the Emirates to, I think, maybe put at least 2. If we can put 2 past them, I'm very confident in saying that we're going to go through.
That's fair. And I'm with you. I think this is what we like to do here. Is more vibe checks, right? We're going to run around the squad. There was a lot of changes for this game. On the weekend, the Premier League game, the lineup came out. The socials were all over the place. It felt like there was a lot of shouts like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I think personally, I really liked the lineup. How did you feel about it?
Same, dude. I mean, I think midweek we had a Marino, Declan Rice pivot with Odegaard, and to see Kai Havertz drop back into the midfield, to see Thomas Partey at the 6, like that was the big one for me, dude. I felt like seeing him at the 6, like just felt like we're gonna play today, and it looked like we had 5 attackers, we had 5 defenders. We were kind of just really going for it from the rip. And I think the one thing about the lineup I appreciated was that Jesus got his spot after his performance midweek. Personally, I was on the boat that he should get the start, but it should be maybe out on the wing if Kai Havertz is the 9. So to see that change, it almost felt like the manager was rewarding both players at the same time in a way.
The lineup came out, and I felt like almost justified. We talk a lot about this, and I felt justified in what we've been saying. Like, give us a new look. Give us something different. Obviously, open play goals. That's the issue. Run it back mode. run the same players out, same results over and over. Got Havertz in the midfield. We haven't seen that in a long time. Now, if we go back to last season, was that the best position for him? No, because he ended up as the 9, right? I think outperforming himself at the 9, fantastic. But it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen him at the 8, and he's a different player. It's like night and day, right? I mean, the beginning of last season to now, night and day as a player. Overall, I think it was a good, if you want to call it an experiment, I think it's something we can do again. But it's a meritocracy, Keon. KP, it's a meritocracy. This dude got a hat trick midweek against the same team. People were like, I don't think he should play again. Jesus, get him up front. I was all for it. And we were obviously rewarded for that decision.
No, that was really nice to see. It was a meritocracy. I mean, I think you hit it. You hit the nail on the head with that. And also, if I were to share with you just my general vibes, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with the manager. I'm very pleased reflecting on our conversations this season. I mean, what are some of the things we've been asking for? We've been saying on the last pod, I said I'd like to see a little bit more chaos in our gameplay, right? I want to see us bring them into our half instead of possessing in their half. Now, was that a little risky? Yeah, but is that the manager taking risk? Like we've been calling for that, so I have to give credit where it's due, man. I mean, we've been calling for TP5 to get back into 6. I've been saying I'd like to see our midfielders try a few more balls over the top. We were doing that in the midweek game a lot, dude, and it was really nice to see. Take some more chances, man. How many times have we sat here, Steven, and said, why don't our wingers switch positions? Like, why doesn't Martinelli play on the other side a little bit? Now, it was a forced change. Mikel Arteta and these forced changes, dude, they go in his favor.
Go in his favor. Definitely a forced change. And I think that's where we'll probably end up at the end of this, is like discussing what the lineups will be, what the general vibe will be around the club, who's he going to go with. But yeah, I think we were forced into making some changes just based on the set piece goals. 0-0. Everton, I think that was left a real bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. To come out here in this one, 5 attackers, 5 defenders, we're going for it. And to your point, I think it was very much a go forward game. We're going forward. The horseshoe, I didn't see the horseshoe. I think that was put in the stable, bro. The horseshoe was put in the stable. It was go forward, go forward, go forward. I know I'm going to jump the gun on this a little bit, but you got to rely on your back line when we're going to do that, create chaos. Man of the match for me was the goalkeeper. No lie. Crystal Palace had the chances in the game. Like there's no doubt about that. Saliba he didn't have his best performance. Definitely not. I think he was a little shaky. But David Raya, when called upon, he showed up time and time again. Early in the game, he had that bad pass, of course. I mean, he knows that. Everybody knows that. But when the moment's called and he steps up to the plate and makes the big saves, like that's all you can ask for. 5-1 could have been it really could have been like a 3-3 type of game. Easy. But calling your keeper, big time.
I agree with you, dude. David Raya, I mean, it's 2-1 in the 20th minute when he makes that save, the one-on-one save following the Saliba mistake. That could have easily made it 2-2. And then we're in a dogfight again. You look back to the second half, it was just 3-1. And in the first minute, they had that header that could have made it 3-2. I mean, these are game-changing moments, right? The momentum completely shifts. The crowd gets into it. And to have a goalkeeper like him, who's also so secure in his handling, he's so good at getting back up after he makes his save. How many times have you seen him do that for us so far?
Double save, right? That's like becoming his trademark, I think. Like the double save, someone hits it into him, a header comes right back to him. He's up. He's a cat, baby. He's a cat.
He absolutely is. I think that's a really nice shout to give him man of the match, actually. One of the things I wanted to also call out is, I mean, we've heard it before, and I'm kind of starting to get a little sick of it, dude. I want the manager to stop giving the youth a chance, because I miss the haters. I miss the haters on the timeline, dude. Miles Lewis Skelly. I think for me, he was man of the match, just because I was so impressed with him, man. I have been so impressed with him.
I mean, 18, man. 18 years old. He came in. We had the options to play other players there, like Kibior on the bench. I want to say 4 weeks ago, he's probably that left back for the game. Tierney just had a good appearance midweek. Said, no, rely on the kid. To be honest, 2 starts in a row for him now in the Premier League. 2 in a row. I don't think I've seen a mistake from him yet. He's gotten into a few hairy moments. Definitely gotten into a few hairy moments, but he seems to sneak out of it. He's got that. He's tight on the ball. I'm actually really happy with this dude.
I mean, Hail End. It's done it again, dude. It's done it again, dude. And I said it like a few months ago that Ethan Nwaneri is getting a lot of attention just because, you know, he's an attacking player. But don't sleep on Mazlou Skelly, man. The way you're right, he does get in some hairy moments, but he's so good at splitting them when he does get in those moments. Or he drew a lot of fouls at the weekend. That was really nice to see, and he got the calls. Did he have a couple of passes where I felt like there was one in particular I remember where he passed it to Odegaard and he got pressed and then they were running at our back line with no one. Couple of hospital passes here and there, but I don't care, honestly. Like, whatever. I expect that from him. It's okay. I don't expect that from a 26-year-old, 3-time Premier League winner Zinchenko, but I expect that from Mazlou Skelly.
That's begging for a comparison. This is what I'm thinking when I'm watching this game. Dude's thick. The dude is thick, right? Timber. He's like got the same body build as Timber. It's like he's got that to him. I think he had a little bite a few times on people. It's like this dude's thick. He can run through the tackle. Home on the ball like Zinchenko. Obviously is like a midfielder back into left back now. Has that about him. But Zinchenko's cool. He's too cool, right? At times. I haven't seen that from Skelly yet. And like maybe that's the 18-year-old showing. He's still got nerves and stuff. He's not cool enough. He's not too cool to stand on the ball and do something silly yet. So he is keeping it moving. He knows his place, which I appreciate. He's not doing too much. Let the other dudes do the hard work, right? Let me get them in the right places. 18, man. That's big.
It is, dude. I got to be honest with you, though. When I was watching that game at the weekend, I mean, as the podcast title suggests, my mood swings were crazy, bro. The first 5 minutes was like, oh my God, we're so good. The first 10 minutes, like, oh man, I don't think we're that good. We might lose today. Then the 15 is like, oh, we're winning again. Like, oh man. And I think that really also reflects the energy online a little bit. I want to give a shout out to everyone who's been engaging with our content on Blue Sky. Big shout out to our following on the platform. We appreciate it. Keep telling us your thoughts. And I kind of want to talk about one particular post that stood out to me on Blue Sky. It was around the 35th minute or so. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Invisiblog said, honestly, we need to have a rethink about our strategy of time wasting on throw-ins. It's frigging infuriating and hasn't won us any friends or matches. Getting the crowds back up has meant that each goal kick and throw-in is now a potential banana peel. Can someone explain? I kind of feel like he has a point, dude. Timber got a yellow card. Raya got a yellow card in the first half. My biggest worry going into the second half was a red card.
I think we had 2 defenders on yellows first half, right? And that Timber one is very, very silly. We've seen it happen, right? When he got that yellow card to me, and was that a yellow card everybody else is going to get? I don't necessarily think so. It's a very cheap way to get a yellow. We see nasty fouls come in. That's a yellow card. All right. Is it reciprocal? I don't think so. It's way too much of a damage for what it is. But when he got that yellow card, I'm not surprised. It's silly. It is just silly. I believe the referee also said something to him before. It's not like that is no warning and he just gave it to him. I'm pretty sure he said something to him before. We do need to work on that. And I think you're on the same page, right?
I am. And I'm just wondering, like, what do you think it's down to? The amount of time we take to throw the ball in, because it's not just Timber. When Benny Blanco plays at right back, we've seen the same thing. Is it really an instruction, or is it that we're too afraid that we throw it in and the bounce doesn't go our way and we just cannot have a wasted throw in? I'm struggling with it a little bit because at times it does also look like the quick throw is on to just chuck it down the line.
It's risk averse, man. I think we're very risk averse. A lot of the time the throw in comes in, it goes right back to the thrower, and then we work out from there. It's always back to the thrower, that first touch. I just think it's 100% risk averse football.
But the balance of the risk is a little off if we start getting yellow cards in the first half because of it. And now our outside backs are, playing a little bit more timid for 60 minutes. So I think there has to be a little bit of a reassessment. And I do feel like we are one of the few teams where I notice like we also have throwing plays. You know how we have corners and the way they're set up? It looks like we also have throwing plays, specifically on that right-hand side. Have you noticed how many times Odegaard makes that run sort of behind their outside back and gets the ball? Like, that has to be by design. So maybe we're spending a little too much time on set pieces.
Whatever. It's not a big deal for me. I'm over that. Dark Arts FC. I mean, I think people want to see what they want to see. It's not a big deal. We'll add it to the list of like things we expect to change. I don't think the yellow cards, as frequent as they happen, we are going to change. It has to change. Big Gabby got a yellow card for a foul where he had to commit, right? He got turned, had to grab somebody, pull him down. Timber's getting yellow card because he's time wasting in the 30th minute with a throw-in. Again, the justification of that yellow card, I don't see it. That's not yellow card worthy because imagine the second half. He got spun, pulled the guy's jersey, gets another yellow card. The crime doesn't fit the punishment, but so I expect it to change. I do.
Yeah, and I also, going back to the balance of the risk, I agree with Invisiblog that it gets the crowd into it. We really do hype up their crowd to be more engaged with it, and I don't necessarily appreciate that. But let's chat a little bit more about the players and some of the performances we've seen. I think obviously one of the big things is Gabriel Jesus. 5 goals in 2 games, going back to the things we've been asking for, like to give this guy a little bit more time, right? Everyone's asking, should we sell him in January? I don't know. I haven't seen him get 2 back-to-back starts. So it's really nice to see his confidence at the goals that he scored were just all saucy. Dude, I have to be honest with you.
It is really strange for him to come back the way he has. And this is 2 games, and I hope everybody takes like a grain of salt with these performances. I'm not counting him in now to be this superstar player for us, the Jesus of the 22-23 season. I'm not counting that. Okay. So I do take it with a grain of salt, but it is just night and day. The games that he's come on and he's been very pedestrian, right? There's games where he's come on and he runs around a little bit, but he doesn't look like he wants to do something. He's not into it. That second half against Palace, and this is the cup game, like he's like turning folks. He's getting the ball, asking for it, like nasty stuff. The finish was nasty. The first goal he got, the chip, nasty. The first 2 goals in the Premier League game, nasty stuff. So off the corner, ball comes to him, smashes it, right? Near post. The second one is a player, the only player on our team I think that would shoot that is Trossard, because he's a shooter. No one shoots those balls. It's that 10% chance this works. Let's recycle it. Nah, Jesus, he's got the confidence now. I hope that can stay with him. But I do take a grain of salt with it.
I agree with you. I think as January is coming up, I still feel like we should try to do some business for an attacker. I don't believe that what we've seen, going back to the calls of like, should he start? He must start, some people were saying, because of the hat trick. I didn't feel like he must start after the hat trick, just because the biggest issue with him is consistency. And I don't expect him to continue scoring at the rate that he is.
To me, it was a ride the wave situation. I'm riding that wave. The goals were gross, man. Like, let's be honest with it. They were gross. I haven't seen him move like that in a long time. That was very reminiscent of like what we used to see from him. Very reminiscent. So I was on the train of let's start him again. I want to see it. I want to see it. Him and Kai working together too. That really adds something for me. Having someone there to support him. So it's Martinelli, Saka, Havertz, and then of course Odegaard's going to support everybody. So I'm not even going to throw him in the conversation. But Havertz being there to support him, being that second striker type guy, right? Havertz can come back and defend, which is why I think there was a lot of opportunities for Palace because he was getting forward so much. But he really worked well with him, just like Kai and Trossard used to work really well together. I think if someone's there to support Jesus, you can't leave him up there by himself. He's not that kind of dude. So the support really helped him.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more about King Kai, dude. He got a goal at the weekend. It was I want to say trademark King Kai goal. Just bounced off of him, then went in there, dude.
That was, to me, that's a Kai finish, and I'm okay with it. You need someone in the squad that bundles goals over. We don't have that, so I'm cool with it.
It was so funny, dude. He's up to 6 goals now in the league. But, I mean, to be fair to him, the way he followed up the strike, the anticipation, I think there's a lot of credit to that. Yes, it looks simple at the end, but how often does something like that happen and you're just wishing your player was there? So I thought he played well in the left 8. I thought a couple of times he really carried the ball forward. He had a few good interceptions, and overall, another just solid performance, dude. Not a lot to just complain about. I think as a fan base, we have to stop being in this complain mindset and just enjoy the fucking moment, dude.
I saw you interacting with a few folks with some Kai hate, not loving Kai. Kai at the left 8. This is going to be terrible. We've seen it before. Again, this is for me, 1, it's a new Kai Havertz. It's not the same dude. 2, it's a new team. New players, new roles. It's different. It is completely different. Thought he had a solid game, 6 or 7, just solid. The goal is, again, this is like, that's a Kai Havertz finish for me. Think of someone like Thomas Muller. That's like a Muller finish, just in the right spot. He read it. The defenders didn't even move. He's the only one reacting to the ball. He's in the right spot and reacting, and everyone else is just watching. They're raising their hands like he's offside because it looks weird, right? When you watch it going on TV, no one's moving except him. It's like it looks funny, but you got to have someone in the team that does that. You just do. I think that can be a difference between that first and second is getting goals like that. Oh, he gets 12 goals a season, 8 of them are tap-ins. I take it. I'll take it every time.
I think I will too, man. One of the big things coming out of the game was obviously the Saka injury. I don't have any information on it other than it's clearly a hamstring, and I imagine he's going to be out I want to say he's going to be out for all of January.
On crutches, I would say that just off the top, let's say 8 weeks, just because. Now this is the question for you now. How do we move forward with it? So Martinelli had a good game out right wing. We got Trossard. We have Gabby. We have Havertz. Seems like Sterling, I don't know the issue with him, so he was out. Let's just assume that he'll be able to play in 2 weeks or something. What's the move going forward, KP? What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough because it's with the schedule that we have in January. There's 8 games. I think we play a game every 3 days or so. So you want to see some kind of rotation. It's not helping that Sterling is hurt. I mean, come on, man. We signed him. He doesn't play much, and then this happens. That in a way also just sums up the season it's been. That's another reason to say you can't blame the manager for how things have unfolded this season. But I think if you're going to ride Gabriel Jesus, now that we have a Marino, we have a Declan Rice, we have a Thomas Partey, we have a J20, maybe we see Jesus on the right wing a little bit more. For me, the upcoming game against Ipswich, I think Martinelli should play out on the right wing, man. I mean, if Martinelli's greatest asset is to take the defender down the line, why have we been playing him as a cutback winger? He's not a cutback winger, dude. And to be fair to him, how many times have you sat here and said, yo, the crosses that he puts in are not great. The goalkeeper catches it. It doesn't go to anyone. It's like suddenly you realize, well, that's on his left foot. Because when he was playing on the right, the crosses were good, man. All the crosses were good.
I think he should start on the right wing as well. I believe that relationship over there, Odegaard can make anybody fit. You stick Odegaard in there, he'll make them feel welcome and at home. I am a believer in that. If Martinelli's going to make these runs forward, dink the ball over to him, that might unlock something. I'm going to go back to old faithful, run it back mode, and I see a silver lining here. Another silver lining here on the pod. I see one. Saka missing is undoubtedly not great for us. He's the dude. At times, though, I think we become dependent on the right-hand side, yeah? I.e. Everton 0-0. When things are going rough, we stick it out there, go right, go right, go right, and nothing can happen because what does Everton expect? They're going to the right-hand side. The relationships now that we can create, man, they're there. They're just there. And when I'm saying run it back mode, there is no run it back mode for the next 8 weeks. There is none. We're diverse, right? Let's not be predictable. We are very unpredictable with the relationships we can create. Jesus and Havertz. That's an interesting one. That's been working for us. Now, do we ride it until it doesn't work anymore? No. Leo and Havertz instead. That's worked for us in the past. Again, we rode it till it died and it didn't work anymore. What if we go 2 games with Havertz and Jesus? All right, let's go 1 game with Leo and Havertz instead. That's a new look. That's a new relationship. I think that works, man. I just do. And that goes for all over the pitch. I'm talking like Calafiore at the left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly now at the left back. 2 different players. They provide 2 different things. I'm a believer now, and we need to. It's not about rotation, heavy rotation. That's not what it's about. It's about just sticking 1 new player in that does things differently than someone else. And that's the relationship we should be looking for. Teams know who we are. And we go run it back mode. They know who we are, and they can eventually stop us because it's predictable and it becomes stagnant. But I believe when you create those new relationships, add someone in there that's hungry, okay? You think Trossard wants to play right now? He absolutely does, right? He's hungry. That's what I'm going to rely on when Saka is out. I don't want to see back-to-back-to-back lineups being the same. I can't see that. I need it to be changed frequently because he's so good and we're missing such a huge piece of us. We need to be very unpredictable, very hungry from all over the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, look, it's going to be very difficult for teams to prepare for us now. Who's going to be the front line? We don't know. They don't know. So there's an element of surprise with it. And I think in the middle, there's just so many options now. And hopefully everyone can stay fit. Hopefully it goes as planned. And I have to say, you know, from one wing to another, Leandro Trossard, I thought he came on without a warm-up and put in a really nice performance, man. He had a few passes that I remember where he would switch like across to Odegaard. They were great, and he would set them up. I think there was the one pass he had to Gabi Jesus where that was his easiest chance to score, but he got saved. Like, the way he cut that back was so perfect. You could see the center back just like fall over, knowing that, I just cannot get to this. That's Leo, dude. And I love to see more of it.
Looking for more of them, especially with Saka out. I'm a believer. Anyone that's been a faithful here knows I'm a believer. Trossard's my guy. So, yeah, I think stick him in there. Dude's hungry. He wants to produce for us. And he's not going to, compared to Martinelli, we know if now he's on the right side, he's not going to be the wing that's stuck out on the touchline. It's not what he does. He comes inside, he drops into the midfield. He'll kind of do a little bit of everything. So being able to maybe play him with Martinelli will create something new. Who knows?
Definitely. All right, let's chat about the defense a little bit, man. obviously Saliba was a little shaky. I don't think this is the first time we've seen him not close down necessarily the attacker this season. I think against Southampton, the goal we got scored on, it was very similar to it. Same corner. Raya doesn't make the save. This time, he again kind of just backs off instead of engaging with the player, and he puts it in. On the ball, he was a little shaky. It hasn't been up to his standards this season so far, it feels like to me, his defensive work. It was nice that he fit in and filled the role when Big Gabby wasn't there. I got to give him credit there. But I just expect a little bit more, I think, from Willow.
I got to ask, we got some creatures in the background. Is the birds? What's going on?
There are birds. I am recording in the backyard.
Sounds like they're going at it. Yeah, it sounds like they're going at it right now.
So there's a lot of geese around here. I guess there's a lot of Egyptian geese in Miami. Don't ask me how they got here, but there are.
They flew.
They migrated. Yeah, dudes, they make very loud noises, actually. Like almost every morning, right at 7 a.m., they start going at it. But anyways, man, back to Willow.
Fair play to them. Fair play to them. But yes, back to Saliba. You're probably right on with that. There has been a few moments of that where it seems like the ball's there for the taking, and for some reason he just doesn't go through it. To be fair, man, when that ball went in, I tipped my cap. Like, that's a good goal. Like, immediately out of my mouth was like, that's a good goal. What a strike. I've seen Sar play a few times now. I'm surprised he didn't do more against us in the cup game, but he seems like he's playing really well, that dude. I know he played for Watford back in the day, known for being super pacey. He's big. That was a great finish. On the ball, not great. I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on with him. I guess you can always say a Saliba 6 or 7 game could be someone's 8 or 9, right? Someone else's. I'm not too worried about it personally. I'm just not. Other people in the back line, we've already hit on Lewis Skelly. I thought Big Gabby had a decent game. Silly yellow card, I thought, when he took that guy down when he got spun out. I didn't think it was necessary. Kind of silly, but again, Big Gabby's Big Gabby. He has that in his locker. Always has that in his locker. He had a solid game. Timber, my one to watch. That's Trossard's my forward. Timber's my dude in the back line. I thought he's playing on fire right now. He's the guy. Leave him at right back. Don't put Partey back there. Do not put him back there. Put out Urian Timber at right back. Super, super solid. He's becoming very dependable in my eyes. He's just a very dependable player for us.
He is, dude. I mean, the way he carries the ball forward is really nice. Against Palace a few times, he broke the press and just took off. He seems to be very fast, like faster than you would expect him to be, I suppose. And dude, he's so good. Graham Lasso couldn't hate on him. I was listening to the commentary, and the biggest hater I know was like, Jurian Timber, what a player he is, huh? And I was like, yeah, bro, eat your words, big man.
I love that shout. Since we didn't talk after the midweek game, I have to ask, you had said earlier this season you thought a center back pairing of Timber and Saliba was likely. That was one of your predictions for the season. So Saliba didn't play that game, but Timber did play at center back. Do you think that's something we could see again?
I think it really depends on if Tomiyasu is back or not, man. Like, as we're looking at the back line, as injuries pile up, I think he would put in a great shift if he's paired up with Saliba or if he's paired up with Big Gabby. Like I said, January is going to be so busy. Maybe we see it in more cup matches than in the league necessarily, but I still think he's going to play center back a few more games before this season ends.
I think he does too. Kiwior's center back appearances seem to be dwindling in my eyes. Too many similar mistakes. Left back, I'm cool with him at left back still. Don't have an issue with Kiwior at left back. But Timber at center back is probably the move. Maybe Calafiori one day. Who knows? But we do. also to your point, what you're just saying about Tomiyasu, we need another outside back to be playing where he is right now. Who's going to play right back? No Ben White, no Tomiyasu. I don't want to see Partey there anymore. So it's a good shot though. When you had called that earlier in the season, I don't know if he'll play center back, but he looked good, even though he's small. It was against Mateta, and I thought he played well.
He did. Kiwior, I think Kiwior is gone in January. Even with the lack of depth in defense, I'm starting to feel like if we get a 20 million offer, I think he gets sold. I just feel like if we're also going to do some business in January, we have to cough up some money. It has to be at least 50 million that we spend on an attacker. And so with that in mind, I feel like if an offer comes in for Kiwior, why not, dude? Have the sale. We'll ride it out somehow. I think it'll be okay. And just add some funds to it. Get an attacker. I know you kind of treat him as this third string player, but he's starting to just give me too many Mustafi flashbacks, and I'm not putting up with it, bro.
That's why I say the center back just might not be for him. It might just be left back. He was in that unbeaten run we had last year. I think it was a winning run we had last year. He played left back. Can't do as much damage from there. Can't do as much damage to the team. He's making repeated mistakes. That's an issue for me. But yeah, Kiwior left back. That's the guy. But talking about transfers, our $100 million man, Declan Rice, comes in as a substitute, and he looked all of $100 million, my man, all of it.
How nice, dude, to be winning a game. Were we 3-1 when he came on?
Yes, sir.
You're up 3-1, dude, and you see $100 million midfielder come on to just see the game out, and then he ends up scoring a finesse shot that just sends it over the moon, dude. Hit him with a night.
The night, the Steph Curry. When I saw that, I was cracking up. If you guys know Steph Curry over here, did it in the Olympics too. When he hits a three late in the game, put the other team out of reach, they're not coming back. He hits them with a night. Game over. Go to bed. Put the kids to bed. It's over. That was actually, I think that was a really good shout. But you're right. 3-1. Declan Rice and Ricky Calafiori are coming on the field. It's like the 60th minute, right? Or it was like before the 60th. It was like the 58th minute. Early sub. Love it. Love. Calafiori and Declan Rice coming on, dude. That's new Arsenal, is it not?
It is, dude. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, take the goggles off, man. Take the tinfoil hat off, dude. Just watch things for yourself, man. Make up your own mind. This team is very good, bro. And we are so capable. And Ricky Calafiori, I got to be honest with you. I thought he broke his ankle.
Oh, tough. Talk to me.
That was a red card for me, dude. I know you don't feel that way, but it was a red card for me, man. I know the ball was a little short. It was a little welcoming of the challenge, but the way he should have broke his ankle. I have no idea how he got back up and was just like fine, but you could hear the way he screamed. It was a proper Italian scream, dude. There's a Mamma Mia in the background, bro.
When he did scream, I thought it was really bad. I thought it was broken. This is a tough one for me, man. And it's tough for me because I say this frequently, we've been gaslit into thinking things here. We watched the game. You're telling me a yellow card for Timber, time wasting in the 30th minute is equivalent to a dude's stud going into your ankle? Oh, but if it was above the ankle, it's a red card. Like, okay, that's fine. But one that sticks into my mind that I just can't get over, you saw the Lisandro Martinez earlier this season, that 2-footed slam he put on somebody. He didn't even slide. He's 2-footed them. He missed it, got the ball, but like that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Didn't get a red card for that. And if that's the standard, there's no way that one's a red card. It's just not. So I think what we think in our mind, if I was playing the game, what I expect to be a red card versus what we're watching these professionals do is not a red card. It's insane.
It's very strange, and we're not the only game who had a moment like that where I don't even think VR really reviewed it. Like, we moved on very quickly from that, and then they subbed the player who committed the foul. I don't know if you noticed that or not. Like, they subbed him immediately, so it's just like, all right, great. Like, go and have some tea, man. But I think in the West Ham Brighton game before us, there was a similar tackle that I saw a lot of people up in arms about on social media. I mean, the level of officiating, it's still not great, but it's what we have, man. I did see they sacked David Coote. We actually didn't really chat about that, but they did cut ties with him.
I'm glad about that. I don't have to see his face around anymore. I'll ask you the question that I kind of think about when they talk about VAR. Clear and obvious. That's how you overrule a call. Clear and obvious. You see that, they give a yellow card for it. To me, in VAR's mind, is like, well, it's not clear and obviously a red. The referee thought it was a yellow, so that's what we're going to stick with. Do you have that discretion? That's the discretion I believe VAR is taking. Is that how you see it?
I think the biggest thing I've always struggled with VAR in the Premier League has been the inconsistency of calling the referee to go and see it for himself. I think that ref is watching it live. He sees it happen very fast. He doesn't have the camera angle that we do that shows studs up, ankle crunched. Like, I bet you if they sent the referee to look at that for himself, he comes back and gives a red card.
It's a great way to put it, man. I believe that's the fact. The center referee is depending on VAR to, well, if I'm wrong, they'll tell me. And VAR is relying on, well, the referee saw it and he gave a yellow, so it's not clear and obviously wrong. Because those are in the gray area, right? It's not a black and white like offside. It lives in a gray area. That's an issue for me. What you said is perfect. Go to the monitor. Go to the monitor and tell us.
Yeah, and I'm not even sitting here saying VAR should have called for that to be a red card, because I don't like that. I don't like when they get the instruction from VAR to change their decision. I want the guy to go, and that's what he gets paid for, man. He can see the same stuff that you do, so send him to the monitor. Figure it out, dude. Nice process, boys.
I'd rather take the time to do that than a 4-minute offside call review. Those kill me. I'd rather it be a big moment, a nasty tackle. Go look at it. That makes a lot more sense to me than let's spend 4 minutes deciding if his pubic hair is offside or not.
All right, man. Anything else you want to call out from the game or anything from the weekend? Did you catch any other matches this weekend? Some of the competition has dropped points. How many times have we sat behind this mic this season and said the league is deep, bro? The league is deep.
League is deep. I watched the Bournemouth game this morning. Bournemouth 3, United 0. Woof. And it was at Old Trafford. That is the only game I caught a lot of minutes of. I caught a glimpse of the Liverpool game, Tottenham. I turned it off quick because I probably watched the game for 10 minutes and saw Liverpool on a 3v2, 4v2, 5v2. Like, and this is within 10 minutes. I got to turn this off. This is craziness. Absolute craziness.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, man. The way he tries to spin things in some of his press conferences, he's been actually calling pundits out in saying that he doesn't have any tactics. Like, you don't, dude. Because I'm watching the game, and you're right. How many 4v2s did Liverpool have? They put 6 past you, dude. And then their fans are online twerking saying that, oh, Arsenal should have played better against Manchester City with 10 men. Like, I don't know where these people get the audacity from. Manchester United fans, right? They're sitting there criticizing us for scoring set pieces on them. They've conceded like 6 set pieces since they played us. What happened, bro? You're sitting in 13th place. Your new manager came in to fix everything. Turns out you guys are shit, man. I've said so many times this season, they are not going to finish above 6th place. I'm starting to think they might not finish in the top half of the table.
That's where it's sitting, huh? That is where it's sitting. That Bournemouth game, like, Bournemouth did it to them. This wasn't like 3 goals off the bounce. No, they did it to them. We're going to talk about buying a attacker in January. It won't happen. This is maybe more of a summer move. But I'm in for this Semenyo guy. I've watched him yet again. Dude's a player. He's a baller. He works really hard too. He works hard going back. He works hard going forward. Big body. You could tell it a few times. I think he was talking to his teammate. He just seems like he's a good ball player. He'd fit in our system. So if we're actually going to splurge on anyone in January, that'd be the guy. But because Bournemouth's having a good season, I really doubt that'll happen.
I like him too. I agree with you. A January move is probably impossible for a player like that. And gotta give a shout out to Bournemouth, man. It wasn't even at Bournemouth. It was at Old Trafford, dude. To go out there and put on a performance like that, their coach, I'm starting to really like him, the Bournemouth manager. I want to give him some flowers.
Yeah.
I want to give some flowers to the Nottingham Forest manager, Nuno Espirito Santos. He's just he is awesome, dude. I've always liked him. I loved him when he was at Wolves. Obviously, I had a little bit of a fog when he went to Tottenham, but it seems like he's also found his place at Nottingham Forest. And they beat Aston Villa 2-1. What did they follow it up with this weekend? This weekend, they beat Brentford 2-0 at Brentford. I think they handed them their first loss at home in a very long time. So, and that's a team that we beat, right? So I think there's still a lot of twists and turns to come in the season. And in a weird way, I got to give a shout out to Sean Dyche, man. He got another clean sheet and made Chelsea drop 2 points. So now the gap between us and Chelsea is just 2 points. That's nothing, dude. That is nothing.
They got diced. I looked at the stats and they're pretty similar to our game. It's like, they got diced. That's what happens. The highlights, they should have actually scored. Everton was actually on top for a few periods, which was very surprising because they didn't open up against us at all. But they had the moments there. So looking at the table, man, it's a fight. It's going to be a fight here for the next, I want to say probably 2 to 3 months before we can really decide. Once we get through February, let's have a check, right? Let's gauge what it is. So we're a game back on Liverpool. There's 6 points on us. Let's just say the pessimist in me, they're going to play another game and they're going to win it, right? 9 points. 9-point gap. 2 months, 3 months. It's doable. I think it's just doable. We like to keep our silver linings. 10 games unbeaten. Keep it. Choo-choo. 2 games back-to-back that we had the draws, right? Fulham, Everton. We know we have a slump in December. There's always a slump in December waiting for us. This one happened early, man. It happened early. 5 goals. 5 goals at the weekend. 3 midweek. That's where we usually fall apart in December is we can't score for some reason. Our shooting boots are left in November, forgot them in December. I'm feeling like we're on an upward trajectory right now. Dare I say it? Dare I even dream it? That's just how I feel. We have one more game left in December. Do you think there's always going to be blips in the season, but do you think there's going to be another major one? In the last 2 years, we've had major blips where it's like 3-4 games, can't get results. Now we're 10 unbeaten. I feel like the train's moving.
Yeah, the train's definitely moving, dude. And I think I'm kind of comfortable saying 10 can become 15. I think it can. I'm not really looking at the schedule, but I have no doubt that this team is very capable of putting another 5 games in a row. Maybe they're all wins this time and not just an unbeaten run. Let me put you on the spot a little bit here, though, man, because Aston Villa beat Manchester City 2-1. That was a game I watched. Villa were crushing them, man. And is it fair to say at this point Manchester City are completely out of the title race?
No, I don't believe that. I think they're still in it. They're way too good to be doing what they're doing, right? I can't see a world where they don't get things together. I just don't see a world where that happens. I think Will they necessarily be back in the title race? I mean, it's December. They could be. But top four. Could you imagine if they didn't get top four? Do you think that's realistic?
I think that's possible, dude. I think that's possible. I'm looking at the table right now. It's Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest are sitting fourth. Don't expect them to finish the season there. Bournemouth are sitting fifth. Don't expect them to finish the season there. But Villa, Man City, Newcastle have really hit form. Isak had a hat trick at the weekend. I can see Newcastle making a late run for the top four. I can see a Villa hanging around for the top four. So it's very possible. I mean, realistically, Man City could end up playing in the Conference League next season.
That would actually be really funny. That would be hilarious. They have way too good of a squad. There's way too much money into that. I don't see it happening. We'll see if they pick up anyone in January. Who knows? But again, I mean, they're what? They're 6 points behind us. I mean, we're talking about Liverpool. Let's give them an extra 3 for the 9 game in hand. We still think it could be done. They're only 6 behind us. Like, it could be done. They're too good, man. They're too good.
They are, but if you give the 3 points to Liverpool, that means they're 15 points ahead of Manchester City. I don't think we've ever had a 15-point lead over Manchester City. So from a Liverpool fan's perspective, I think they're out of the race.
That's a good shout. That's facts. 15 points, that's a lot.
That's a lot of points, dude. I don't think they can close that gap at all. So we'll see. Obviously, it's my favorite British tradition coming up. Boxing Day on Thursday. We don't play, but I'll be watching some games, and we play on Friday. We are hosting Ipswich, who just got battered by Newcastle, so they'll probably come and try to sit back. I can't imagine they want to see another 4 goals be put past them. So I'm expecting a relatively tight first half, but I'm pretty confident in saying it's a 2-0 job for me at home.
2-0 job at home. Going for a clean sheet. We got to get a clean sheet. You know what? I'm in the holiday spirit. I'll go with a 2-0 as well. Something about that smells right to me.
We shall see, dude. After that, we are off for a bit, so we'll probably try to get a podcast out reacting to it. And is there anything else you wanna put on the pod today? Obviously, January's coming up. I've already said my feelings around that. I think we should try to sign an attacker if we can. But, I mean, the names I really want are very unrealistic. So I doubt it.
Yeah, we've shared names before. I haven't seen any reports, anything substantial. I'm sure we'll hit it. Maybe after Ipswich, something will come out. But if not, enjoy your holiday, everybody. Merry Christmas. Maybe we'll hit you before the new year. If not, Happy New Year. Be easy.